Hello and welcome to Inside Music, episode number 190 something. I can't be 100% sure anymore. I know it's been a while since the show has been around, but we are back and we are hopefully better than ever. As always, I am your host, James Shotwell, and it is great to speak with you again. As you can tell by looking out your window or watching the news or basically going anywhere right now, we are living in strange times, and I hope to bring you a little bit of solace by resuming the show and giving you some great conversations with the musicians who, unfortunately, you cannot currently see live because literally no one is on the road. Today's conversation is a special one. I recorded it in person with Mike D'Antonio of Killswitch Engage basically a week ago on March 11th, I believe it was, at 20 Monroe Live in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Now, this was the second date of Killswitch Engage spring headlining tour, and it also happened to be the last date because the very next day, all the news about the coronavirus really started to peak and things got canceled. Shows got shelved, shows got postponed, and Killswitch Engage found themselves no longer on the road. But when Mike and I had this conversation, neither of us knew that was happening. You will hear us discuss it a little bit. It's kind of the elephant in the room when we start the conversation. But he was hopeful at the time that there would be some kind of resolution or that they would still be able to keep touring, and that has obviously not been the case. But don't worry, there's still a lot of other things that we talk about in this episode as well. We discuss, the band's legacy in music. Killswitch has been around for 21 years in 2020. We also talk about Mike's bass tones on the new album and, how things change as you grow older in music, and also a little bit of looking back on the early days of the group. Now, before we get there, I do need to tell you a couple of quick things. First and foremost, this episode of Inside Music, like all episodes of the show, is brought to you by Haulix, the industry's leading digital promotional distribution company. And if you go to haulix.com today and click the sign up button in the upper right-hand corner, you'll have access to 1 free month of service. That's access to all the same promotional tools used by bands like Slipknot, Killswitch Engage, Tool, Blink-182, Green Day, Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, Weezer, and thousands of additional artists. So one more time, head over to haulix.com today and sign up. I also want to ask that you head over to YouTube and check out Music Biz. That's the official channel of Haulix, where you can find guides on surviving the industry, navigating the industry, and understanding what's going on right now during the coronavirus outbreak. So go to YouTube and search Music Biz. That's Music B-I-Z. And finally, I usually plug the band here. Obviously, you should be listening to Killswitch Engage. It's hard to believe that if you've made it this far in the show, you aren't already doing so, but definitely check out their most recent album. But more importantly, take care of yourself. It's a crazy time out there, and the best thing you can do right now is to take care of yourself and your loved ones. Stay home, listen to podcasts, watch movies, binge TV shows, do whatever you have to do to stay sane, but just take care of one another, because that's the only way we're going to get through this. And that's the fastest path to getting things back to normal, back to going to shows, back to enjoying the things that we enjoy doing. So just take care of yourself. And a good way to do that is to sit back, relax, and enjoy my conversation with Mike D'Antonio of Killswitch Engage.
Yeah, no, it feels like it's peaking today. Like this minute actually. Yeah, I'm listening to a bunch of stuff on Sirius right now about it, and it's definitely in the back of our minds. A lot of the places we're going are now not allowing gatherings of over 250 people. So it's going to be something we'll have to address sooner than later. But right now, we're just going to go until the wheels fall off, till they tell us to stop. And, we don't want to be a part of spreading something, but we do want to be a part of maybe the healing of people getting out and doing things again.
Yeah, that's how I feel like. Music is always going to be resilient. People get nervous, rightfully so, but I do feel like whenever we have a big moment where people get scared to be outdoors, like music is the first thing they return to when they start getting back out there, It's like that communal thing that we've always done as people, is like gathered around the fire and listen to music, and that turns into concerts and so on and so forth. So I feel like when this passes, anyone that's not comfortable now, we'll get back out there. It's not like you're losing people forever if someone chooses not to come to a show.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, everything's selling way better than I thought it would, but maybe that's because they bought them before this whole thing came together. But, if for some chance things don't work out, we're definitely we'll figure it out for the fan. We're not going to leave them high and dry for sure. It's just really hard to say what's going to happen today.
Yeah.
Right this very second.
I'm in an industry chat with a bunch of our clients at Haulix and stuff, and everyone's just like sending updates like this festival got canceled or this, I heard that they're postponing this thing, and it's just like, all right, I need to breathe. Like, let me get back home. I've only been out of the house for like 30 minutes, and I'm like, okay, let's slow down on these announcements a little bit. I feel like that just causes more chaos in some ways for people.
It's dominoes,
the
domino effect, and that's the scariest part of the whole thing.
South by into Coachella, and now it's like all these smaller festivals. I heard about one or two today where I was like, I didn't even know that was of an event, and now we're...
Yeah, it's sad about South by Southwest because that is a big deal to all the people who work in that area. Our monitor / stage left tech is a guy who works that usually if he's home. Mm-hmm. And he said he could make like $7,000 in that week. And that's a big chunk of change for like not a big amount of time. So I just feel bad for those guys. Hopefully everything will just get rescheduled and we'll just leave all this crap behind.
Yeah, I that's the thing that I keep coming back to is anyone, especially tour crew or merchandisers, anyone that's like not on stage is the people that I worry about the most at this time when I see all the cancellations and stuff. It's like those are the people that depend on like daily gigs or weekly gigs or whatever happens
even the
to
clubs,
be.
yeah.
Well, let's get out of that sadness for a second. Let's keep moving along. This week, or I guess this week, I guess is kind of 7 solid months of Atonement being in the world. Yeah, pretty much. It's 7 months since August. So we're at 7 months now.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? I want to talk to you a little bit about how things change over time. But speaking specifically to this album and how it's been received and people engaging with it or not, how do you feel it's been in terms of like what you expected maybe going into the album release?
You never really expect anything going into any albums, and this is one that we recorded a lot of different songs for. I think we recorded 17 and then narrowed it down to 11. So as we were recording it, it's just like it was just hard to tell which songs were going to be on the record and which weren't until the vocals were on there. So once it all came together, we were really excited about it, and like every record, just really happy to give it to the world and see what everyone thinks. We always like what we're putting out, but you never know what people are going to say. But the reaction's been really, really positive. The Europe leg of this tour, which is the first leg, went extremely well, better than many, many years of touring over there. And we were hoping for the same in the States, and it seems like it was poised to do that exact same thing, without this weird scare going on. But that's all positive news. It's great. People want to check it out. And, Signal Fire went over pretty well. People are digging the Howard Jesse trade-off vocals on that. And we're doing a little bit of that on this tour and just showing fans that, no hard feelings. Things happen for a reason. And it's cool that we just... there's a lot of love here. A lot of love.
I felt like this album was going to be special. I was in LA just before the album came out, and I got to go to Metal Blade and hang out with Vince and all of those kids. I say that I think Vince is older than me, but I'm still going to call him a kid. Sure. But they showed me, they had just gotten in the rough edit for the I Am Broken 2 video, and they were just like, you've got to see this video. You've got to hear this record. Like, I was there just talking about everything they were doing, but like they could not stop talking about the Killswitch album. They're like, you got to be ready for it because it's going to be a thing. And I was like, all right, man. And then the team working your PR at the time, Amy and the Atom Splitter crew, same thing. They were just like, I know that we do a bunch of, I always, as a publicist, their job is to be like, this is really good. Mm-hmm. But they were like, but I mean it in this, you know what I mean? It's like, I actually will buy this album kind of thing. And it's exciting to see. I always feel like I know an album's going to be something special when I hear people in the industry getting excited about it because, there's just it's what everyone does all day long. It's the same thing with like tours, and I talk to people that work in the touring industry. And going into this album, I feel like there was kind of a special energy, and I don't know if you can really pinpoint what that is about it, but when I heard it, it's one of those things where it just makes sense. I guess it's kind of like how you can't really say what you love about music sometimes. It's just like it hits that thing. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
That intangible element.
That's awesome. We really wanted to prove something to Metal Blade this time around. Brand new label. just really excited to give them something that they could sink their teeth into as well. And I feel like, judging by what you said, that they really thought that exact same thing. So, I mean, that's what you need. You need a record label partnership, not someone telling you what to do. And I feel like that's what we have with Metal Blade. We're really excited where we're at.
Our chat literally grinded to a halt, and he was like, "Let me show you this video edit I got in today." And we watched like the long form early cut of the I Am Broken 2 video. And I was like, "This is amazing."
Sad. I can't watch that video.
It is sad. That was the thing, is it was like such a positive like conversation. She's like, "Watch this right now." I got to the end, and you have to be like, "I mean, that was good, but like, I mean, come on, man, it's like 2 PM. We still have things to talk about." You know? And he's like, "I know, but just like that's what makes it so good." And I was like, "Yeah, but that's like a Lars von Trier movie in the middle of the day. Like, I just don't." Woof. It's a lot.
It's a lot. They did a really good job on that one. Yeah, both excited and saddened by the thing, but it came out really good, and people seem to like it.
Do you feel like it's that song in particular? Do you feel like, I guess, the message and what you're going for resonated with people? In part because of the video, probably, but like, have you found a special response to that song? Because it does feel different than a lot of the other Killswitch songs, especially in how it's presented to people.
I haven't noticed anything specifically being miraculously different.
Didn't change anything overnight, yeah.
No, not really. We have sad songs here and there. The last record had one video that is another sad video about AIDS and cancer.
You get one per album cycle, basically.
What's that?
Just one per album cycle. We'll just crush them once.
Yeah, why not? We'll bring up one. So the next one will be about a virus.
I mean, obviously, that's going to be the trend for the next few months.
Well, the funny part is we're supposed to be shooting a video during this tour, and maybe now we won't be able to because of this stupid virus. So,
what I loved is that it was such a big sprawling video for I Am Broken 2, and then Signal Fire is like so simple. Seems like, I mean, I'm sure it still took like 9 hours of playing the song over and over again in a closed space. But comparatively speaking, it wasn't like you were in the rain all day or there was fire or anything like that. It was just like, straight up performance energy.
There's a fun magic to that Signal Fire video. We had seen Howard here and there on the road during festivals or whatever and said hi. But we really got to hang with him during that video shoot, and it was just all laughs and high fives and jokes and just bringing back old funny things that happened to us on the road. And it just seemed like home again. It was really a cool vibe, and I think it really showed in the video as well. Everyone just had a lot of fun. So it didn't really seem like that long of a day, and that was actually Justin's birthday was that day.
Ooh, great way to spend a day. Right?
Yeah, we're like, congratulations. You got flown out of your house to spend time with us.
Yes, the people that I'm sure you want to spend even more time with. And we're going to do the same thing over and over
Happy
and over again.
Birthday. Yeah.
Sit here and just look cool all day, man. Come on, it's a great birthday. I got to talk to Howard in November, and I had already heard rumors about this tour coming up at that point, and I tried so hard to pull it out of him. And he's such a good guy at like just straight facing everything, and be like, you could ask him deadpan, he'll just be like, I mean, I don't know. And you're like, I know you know.
Yeah. He likes not to tell people things.
I know it's like a superpower that I don't possess. Like I get way too excited about things, and he's so chill, and I'm like, but I know. It's one of those things where you're like, we both know, man.
No, we were super excited to get on the road with these guys. Light the Torch is a really good band, and really great guys in the band, and we knew that this thing could be a pretty cool thing for the fans. So why not try it?
I want to talk about a comment I read that you made in Guitar World. They interviewed you not that long ago, back in February. I think the piece came out, and you were talking about how you felt like this record had your angriest tone on it for your bass, which I agree with. But I actually was more interested. You made a comment about how bass is historically a little bit more downplayed in metal music. But do you think that that's? I feel like it's starting to change a little bit, or maybe it's just because people are using more digital drums and other digital bass. But I feel like maybe it's. Do you feel like the tides are changing a little bit in the world of bass playing? Are you getting the recognition that bass players have long not gotten?
I think with any type of music, it's always going to be more and more and more and added onto. And I feel like the bass is now being explored a bit more than it had in the past. It's definitely louder in the mix, which is really cool, and as long as it contributes to how cool the guitars sound, I'm all for it. You know, some of these bass tones don't really jive that well, and when it's all mixed together. But I think major strides in metal bass have happened in the past couple of years for sure. Some great players out there.
It is, and you are right. The tone of your bass on this record is I like that description, because I never know how to describe, as somebody that writes about music, bass is a hard thing sometimes to describe, other than people will be like thumping or thunderous or bouncy, and I've never heard angry used as a way to describe
This thing's pissed. So mad at you for no reason.
How did you find that tone for this record? Is it just trial and error?
Adam D kind of had an idea of what he wanted to go for on the last record, and he set it up for me, and I started playing. I was like, wow, this is exactly what I've been wanting to play, how I've wanted to sound for years and years and years, and never been able to put it into effect. And he's like, let's go then. So the previous record, what was it? Incarnate, I feel like was the start of this new bass tone kind of growl, and pushing it in the mix a bit more, getting it bigger in the mix. Because it lends itself to a cooler guitar tone for sure. But this one was my MDB4, my signature model from Ibanez, and this small boutique pedal called a Rusty Box that I've been using for years. And sometimes I'd use it and then put it away, but I always tend to go back to it, and it just really can shape your tone into more of a just angry mess, something that you want to keep locked in a cage.
That's what you're going for.
Yes.
I would like it to sound unbridled.
As mad as possible.
I think that's a perfect description. That's what I want more of in my bass playing as well. That's what I'm looking for. So you're on it. The last thing I really want to touch on just for a second is kind of your time in the band. I mean, I always get obsessed with the passing of time, and maybe it's because the band is at 21 years this year, I guess.
Yeah.
You're the
legal
band
age.
Can drink now.
Yeah. Finally.
What is there any notion in your mind in 1999 that you could be doing this as a career, let alone for this long?
Oh, absolutely never. No,
I've been to West. I used to live in Boston. I've been to Westfield, Massachusetts, so I can't imagine that you were like, this is going to work. For like the long haul.
Well, I mean, yeah, you put bands together and you think, oh, this is going to be fun for a little while. And there was a certain magic to this band that was happening, even though we didn't have a lyricist. Jesse didn't come into the band for, I think, 6 or 9 months till after we had already recorded about 3 or 4 demos. We actually took a demo and put it on the internet, and we're like, people sing over this because we need a singer bad. And I lost my train of thought completely.
Fine, yeah.
Whoops.
You're fine. Well, that's why editing exists. Just thoughts on the early days of the band, where it was going, starting off.
Yeah, so it came down to where Roadrunner had called my parents' house looking for me.
Love it.
And I got on the phone with this guy named Mike Gitter. And I had known him from when I skateboarded. He was a writer for Thrasher magazine. He used to do the music section. And I couldn't believe this guy was calling me out of the blue. And they wanted to sign us. Roadrunner Records wanted to sign this stupid band from Westfield, Massachusetts. And so I brought it to the guys. We were all sitting around in Joel's garage, I remember. And we were just sitting there. And I was like, oh, yeah, Roadrunner called me last night. And they're like, what did they want? Like, I think they want to give us a record deal or something. And everyone just laughed.
How much material did you actually have at this point?
I think the first record might have either come out or was coming out. And Carl Severson from Farrah Records was handing it out to all the Roadrunner people because he worked there. He was the new media guy over there. And that's how they got wind of it real fast and jumped on it super quick. And then other label offers were following suit. But, you know, we were comfortable on Ferret. We were comfortable selling 1,000 records and just playing VFW halls and stuff like that. But then this Roadrunner thing happened, and it took us kind of out of our element, and we had to look at our situation from a different angle for the first time ever. like what record label, there was a bunch, would make it possible that we could actually do this, like not come home and live in a cardboard box, like be able to come back to our apartments and be able to pay rent and all that stuff. And it was kind of a scary thing. You know, we're telling our parents, you know, I think we need to quit our jobs and like go on the road and play music. But we were all at certain points in our life where we probably could take that chance. We weren't too old that it was going to screw us up too bad monetarily, and still pretty young and vivacious to be able to go out there and maybe capture some fans. So my parents, for the first time ever, were like, "You should do it." I was like, "Whoa!" Blown away. Like, "You should do it." And at that time, I was working for Clear Channel, a graphic design job, one of my favorite design jobs I'd ever had, doing like, you know, billboards for Ozzy and advertisements for anywhere from, you know, Tool and Black Label and all these fun things. It was a new project every single day. It was very, very fun. But sometimes you have to out with the old, in with the new, take one chance. We all said, let's try this for a year. And if we can't make rent by the time we get back, then we'll have to reassess. And we've been touring ever since. So it's just like, the Roadrunner thing really helped make this thing catch fire for sure.
So then you get to do you remember a point, maybe it's at the end of that year, where you kind of have a moment to look your head up and be like, oh, we're doing this thing. Like this is what we do now.
At the end of the year, we kind of looked at each other and said, okay,
some ups and downs.
We're not making a ton of money, but you know, we're getting by, so we can probably still continue to do this. Adam was working at the studio, and I was just still doing a lot of freelance design, so it wasn't like we weren't going to come home to nothing. But it definitely wasn't an instant success either. 2004. The Headbangers Ball tour that MTV put on, which was another thing where we all looked at each other and laughed. MTV wants anything to do with this band. That's ridiculous. Like a hardcore band from Massachusetts. And I think that tour really put us and Lamb of God and Shadows Fall on the map. And from then on, it really was like a really pretty rad climb. And it was a wave that we all just said, we got to ride this thing. Like we made something work for the first time ever in the music industry, so it would be really stupid to bail now. We just got to keep going until this thing, you know, pans out.
We are in as deep as we can. Yeah, we're in deep now.
Yeah, so yeah, why not just ride the wave until it crashes on the shore? So far,
keeping your head above water.
So far, yeah. I got the snorkel. It's fine.
What is that's good. What are you when it comes to an album these days, like Atonement or something? I've been kind of talking about with a lot of artists recently that have several albums. I mean, this morning I was fortunate enough to listen to an advance of the Trivium record, and I was like, those guys are on their 9th studio album.
Wow.
That's the exact reaction. That's the only reaction. It's like 9. But when it comes to this, you're this far into a career. When an album comes out, like, do you ever think this is going to take us to a new level, or is it more like what I find with a lot of bands? They always tell me that it's more at this point. It's like, well, we might go up and down, but it's really about maintaining and maybe slow growth, but not like we're not thinking this record. Now we're going to jump up the next, notch in the belt.
I've learned not to get excited about records. You never know what is going to happen. I like them all. I mean, obviously, if we wouldn't put them out if we weren't really into them at the time. And your dreams get crushed pretty fast when people don't feel the same way. So I avoid all that stuff and just try to make my parts as good as I can make them to myself.
Something that you like and just hope people like it.
It's hard to tell, man. It's very subjective. Music is such a weird thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you that this record was better than the last one, but it seems to be doing better, so I guess it is. I don't know.
But is that the quality of the music? Is it the state of how people are feeling? Like what of the many factors is the reason that this album is more like the
It's hard to pinpoint, like this stupid virus.
Wow. Look at that, full circle. Now you've like brought it to a halt because you've so perfectly tied
Sorry, we're not talking about that anymore.
No, it was fantastic. You guys just started this tour. You have 6 weeks? 6 weeks?
Yeah, it's going to be 5, 4.5, 5, hopefully.
Shot it.
A lot of the ones towards the end now are starting to say that they don't want more than 250 people gathering together. So we're going to have to assess that relatively quick.
Might be some real cool small shows.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I like the smaller
You guys
shows.
don't get a lot of chances to play super tight little shows.
Those intimate ones are the best ones. The
Yeah.
emotion and the energy is just ridiculous. We did on Incarnate, we did 5-day stay in New York City, tiny clubs. It was probably the best time we've ever played. It was just blast every night. Total blast.
I love it. Let me ask you this one more thing before we get out of here. You guys ever thought about doing some bands? I really like bands that have been getting into this culture, doing some kind of like homecoming show or anything. Do you guys ever think about doing like some big Massachusetts-based celebration of what you guys have done? It now where they're at 21 years. You guys kind of hit some special point in your career. It feels like. But like, where would you even do it? Because it's not like Westfield necessarily has. I guess. You probably can't go back to a basement in Westfield and do it. So
right. I mean, primarily we were sort of considered maybe a Worcester band, so that's like Central
Palladium
Mass.
would be kind of the
Palladium, you could do it maybe upstairs. You do like 3 or 4 nights or something like that. We had tried to move the last show that we played at the Palladium to the outside venue, which is double the capacity, and it didn't work out so well. So we may not be doing any of those things anytime
Parkway
soon.
Tour is listed at the Palladium Outdoors, and I was like, that is a big lot.
It's a big jump from 2,300 to like 5,000, something like that.
Yeah. Like,
but hey, that's cool.
Yeah,
they got the
do it.
pyro, and they have some really cool elements to their stage. So maybe that'll be the good draw. I'd like to see them definitely pull it off.
Really, I was just trying to get out of you to do a series of Killswitch shows somewhere where I can just come and watch multiple nights in a row.
Well, like I said, we did that in New York, and it went over really well. So it's not like we wouldn't do something like that. I would love to do some more Boston stuff like that. But I feel like the smaller the clubs for something like that also gives the fans a bit of a different perspective, a different feel for a show, and not the same thing that you'd get at a big venue.
Yeah, we really dive into some of those deep cuts. Make people love the stuff maybe they haven't loved yet.
Sure, or even just like be able to high five everyone in the room.
Oh my god,
you know?
Right. Just strip it down and go crazy. Just get sweaty. I like it. Oh well, hopefully that's something we can look forward to. And if nothing else, you guys are on the road now. I'm sure that you are on the road for most of the year, unless something changes.
I hope so. Yeah. Now we're wondering what's going to happen in Europe because obviously pretty crazy out there too.
Some places in Europe are a little crazy.
That would be our next stop, hopefully.
The summer tour circuit in Europe?
Yeah. Which is a major source of revenue for those guys too, for Europe.
Absolutely.
Downloads and all that stuff is like big business.
Not to plug Parkway again, but I just saw their documentary that is all of their European circuit of touring, and those festivals look insane. Now, suddenly my bucket list is now just all of those European festivals.
They figured it out a long time ago, Europe, these festivals and how to put them together and get a lot of people.
And on your end as an artist, it runs smoothly? Because that was always my question when I'm watching something that's like that.
They've gotten way better.
You've been going for a while now.
Yeah. Since 2002, we've been doing those types of things, but they've definitely gotten a lot better. I was very impressed with Hellfest. Yeah. You know, they took the Syracuse Hellfest and they kind of stole the name and they brought it over to France and they turned it into a theme park. It's like a Mad Max goes to Disney. Okay. And it's just like fire and spikes and walls, and it's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Good. But hopefully they can continue. Hopefully this whole this whole thing
I'm going to add Hellfest up there with Whacking, because all the Whacking footage, I'm always just like, I want to see that with my own eyes one day.
It's a fun one. I think we've only done that once, but it was like, I was nervous.
It's just the amount of people that really just blows my mind.
There was 80,000 people at this one, and we were sandwiched in between Carcass played first, then us, and then At the Gates. So that's a weird spot to be in if you're a band that's not as metal as those guys. So I was expecting heads of lettuce get thrown at us, because Wacken is like big fat biker dudes with denim vests or leather vests and no shirts on, and they want to hear some goddamn metal. If you don't play metal, you're gonna get your head caved in. And we shot a video for This Is Absolution, and you can see that the circle pit was probably the biggest I'd ever seen in my entire life. But I didn't look up for the first 3 songs.
I was saying, can you even look at that? It just feels so intimidating to see that many people.
It was nervous. It was more, what are these people are they gonna walk away?
Yeah.
Carcass just played.
Marcus. I saw them. It was amazing.
I was on stage watching them. It was, yeah. But yeah, you just never know what you're going to
When
get.
you're in front of that many people, can you see the back of that crowd at Whacking? Or Whacking? Are you that high up?
Sometimes no. Yeah, we did download with AC/DC 110,000, and it was, yeah, they just go over the hill.
He just disappears on the horizon.
Just to see, it's gnarly, and it is a little scary, but it's also, it's not just me standing up there.
Right.
We're a group of dudes that know what we're doing, so it's just confidence. You know, you get more anxious to get up there and play rather than anxiety to be standing in front of so many people.
So then when it comes to like a show like tonight, this is like a 2450 cap room. Do you have far less anxiety about it because you're like, I've stood on the stage in front of 100 times this many people?
Yeah, just anxious,
I got this.
just anxious and ready to go.
This
Like
is work.
I could play the show right now. I'd rather play the show now than late nights. But
Fair enough.
Getting old.
Well, the tour goes on for a few more weeks. I appreciate you talking about a whole variety of things with me today.
Yeah, thank you.
Burned through my notes, and yeah, man, I wish you the best.
Thanks.